Well, listener, you can see the picture behind you, but that is not One Kick Nick. That is Marshall Hamill, my first full contact kickboxing coach. Now, Marshall Hamill was a complete fraud. But, in fairness to Marshall Hamill, there were no schools anywhere at the time. So if you're going to put up a shingle, right, like when nobody else is offering what you're offering, you've got leverage, right? That's what Marshall did. Now, Marshall was tough in a lot of areas. Number one, he had a huge amount of fighter ego, right? It was about him. It wasn't about his people, right? Like, so he claimed to be a trainer because he didn't really have his first fight until he was in his late 30s, and he won one fight. And then I came and started training with him, and he was teaching me. And listen, I had never kicked Thai pads before, so I'm not going to say I learned nothing from Marshall. I mean, I learned by being around him and whatnot. One of the things I put in my book, and this is very important, I was reflective enough to understand that I wasn't going to listen to anybody at that age. I was like 25 years old, right? I was a karate black belt. Like, I thought I was the toughest guy in the world, and I wasn't going to take advice from a trainer, just like why I don't like taking on young fighters now and training them. So Marshall was, in a way, a perfect foil for me, right? Like, he was a phony and he didn't know what he was doing, but I wasn't going to listen to him anyway. So better that he was a phony and didn't know what he was doing. Sadly, also Marshall was an alcoholic and he passed away not that long ago, but he hung on till the very end. And part of it is the way he looked. Now, funny enough, you're talking about Nick, One Kick Nick. I remember going to a Lions fight at Pachanga Casino in Temecula, right? And I'm at Lions fight, and I turn around, and there's One Kick Nick, and I'm looking at him, and he's watching the fight. He's very concentrated. I can't stop staring at him. Why couldn't I stop staring at him? Well, because he looks like my trainer, man. He's got a spitting image. Now, one thing Nick did, obviously I assume Nick is very talented and knowledgeable about the fight game because he put effort into it, right? Marshall didn't put effort into anything but drinking, which is one of the reasons his life landed up the way it was, right? Like, Nick set up a school in Vegas when there were no kickboxing schools practically, right? And he focused on his game and he learned it, and maybe Nick didn't know as much either, but like, if you're around something every day, working at it, grinding at it, guess what? You become an expert. I don't care where you start or what you're doing, you're going to learn through your various interactions day by day, focusing on one thing. And that's something, Marshall couldn't do. And that's sad. Like, if we put our effort and energy into drinking or drugs or womanizing or whatever, and I've been there in my life, like, it's a waste of life, right? Better that you put your energy into something like that. I feel so foolish because I didn't stick with the martial arts plan. I went into my father's life of crime like a fool, thinking, and they convinced me that martial arts was never going anywhere. Look at how big martial arts are now. I could have probably been one of the big trainers of UFC guys. But listen, man, we zig when we should have zagged. That's called life. That's what it is. And Nick, One Kick Nick zigged right, and Marshall Hamill zagged wrong. And we'll see where I land up in the end. Who knows? Everybody read my book, Warrior of the Light.